Hey, shalom, shalom. First and foremost, I want to give all praises, honor, and glory that's due to Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahushai, Ba'ashem Rakakudash. Double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone, who all in this true from the wealth, peace, and salutations to the 144,000, the rest of 1/3, large multitude. Unto you I say shalom. Coming to you back with another lesson through the Spirit. And I'm entitled this one: This world is full of vexation, because this current world, this current kingdom, especially here in America, which is Mystery Babylon, Babylon the Great, the mother of all harlots. This is where the wickedness that has polluted the entire earth began, from all the ways of Babylon, from the American dream, feminism, the man being taken out the house, the women being over the men. You got Moes, the alphabet agenda walking around everywhere now, being pushed out throughout the four corners of the earth. You got the American lifestyle, being pushed out throughout the earth, polluting the minds of all the different people around the earth. You got women now wanting to just be so-called liberated, which pretty much gives them a license to be whores. And you got, these Edomites, as proud as all hell, thinking that their empire is never going to collapse, but this place is collapsing. And ultimately, us of the hopeful elect, we're rejoicing at the collapse of this society. Even though we're in it, we have to endure to the end, but yet you still got all these proud ass people, especially here in America, these Americans, these Babylonians, walking around proud as all hell. Even though this society is collapsing, people are getting laid off, people are forced in that spirit of mirth, even though Yahweh is taking the spirit out of Babylon the Great, that spirit of mirth, the spirit of the so-called holiday spirit. You got the 4th of July right around the corner, but yet, people still want to force it. They want to force that spirit of mirth when, it's clearly gone, but yet people still want to force it because this is all they know. And that vexes us in the spirit, because even though the society of these people is collapsing, the dollar's collapsing, people are getting laid off in mass numbers. People are, these different countries are doing away with the dollar. You got inflation at an all-time high. You got rent prices going up. But yet these people are still proud as all hell. Just the way they move, their countenance, their spirit. You can read it and see that even though Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai is sending all these different plagues to humble these people down, they're still proud as all hell. So ultimately, that's why majority of Jake here in America, the 2/3, and the rest of these heathen nations are going to be destroyed because of their prideful ass spirit. Even though Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai is sending all these warnings to our people, those who haven't repented, which they're not going to repent, but yet they're still walking around proud as all hell. This is Ecclesiastes chapter 1 and verse 14. I have seen all the works that are done under the sun, and behold, all is vanity and vexation of spirit. So everything these people are doing, from working these 9-to-5s, their careers, whatever it may be, keeping up with the Jones, buying the newest car, houses, newest iPhone, gadgets, whatever it may be that these people are constantly chasing, because they're looking to fill that void, that emptiness, especially our own people, the 2/3, they lack Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai, they lack the fear of the Lord, they lack the knowledge, wisdom, and understanding. That's why they go out there and chase all this vainglory. You got Jake out there at the nightclubs and the bars every damn weekend, damn near every day. You got Eve out here getting BBLs. You got Jake out here being scammers and rappers, trappers, and killers to appease Eve, but it's all vanity. They're chasing vainglory. They're chasing a corruptible crown. Even these people that so-called made it, these celebrities, these rappers, these entertainers, these athletes, it's all for a corruptible crown. That's why it vexes us of the hopeful elect, that our people are just chasing all this vainglory, all this vanity that is going to be done away with very soon, because this current world is going to pass away by the way of fire. But yet these people don't see that. That's why they act the way they do. If they actually knew how this country is going to be destroyed, then they would act differently. But ultimately, it was Yahweh Shemi Shai to put it up on their spirit to not see it, because he wants them to be proud and fattened up for the kill, which is going to be those intercontinental ballistic missiles. This is Ecclesiastes chapter 1 and verse 18. For in much wisdom is much grief, and he that increaseth knowledge increaseth sorrow. So, knowing what we know, we walk around in that spirit of mourning, because we want to get the hell out of here. We want to be delivered. We don't want to spend another week, another month, another years. However much time we do have to be spent here in this current captivity. Ultimately, Yahweh Shemi Shai is going to do away with the system very soon. All the prophecies are pointing towards the destruction of America, the destruction of the 2/3 of these heathens, the destruction of Esau, Edom, and his kingdom. Being brought down to that lowest state, which is captivity, and then the kingdom of heaven, which is going to be established here upon the planet Earth. That's what we're looking forward to. But for that to happen, we know we have to go through all the trials and tribulations, from Jacob's trouble, which is already starting. You got the northern kingdom being persecuted, and now you got the southern kingdom about to be persecuted, the Haitians. And then we have to go through martial law and the hour of temptation, that third world war. And knowing all this, that what we have to go through that straight gate to get to the kingdom of heaven is, we're in the spirit of mourning, because we know what we have to go through. We know that we have to bear our cross, but yet you got all these people that are just so-called fake, I don't want to say so-called, but faking a funk, cracking fake smiles like everything's okay, but knowing damn well they know that nothing is okay, that everything being done under the sun right now is completely wicked, and it has to be done away with. This is Proverbs chapter 14 and verse 13. Even in laughter, the heart is sorrowful, and at the end of that mirth is heaviness. So even us, during the knowledge, wisdom, and understanding, during the truth, we got our times of mirth, our times of folly, maybe when we're around the brotherhood or fellowshipping. But when that's over, when we go back to our houses or apartments, whatever it may be, we know that we have to go back to that 9 to 5 on Monday, get up extra early to work for this damn devil, Esau, Edom, the self-proclaimed white man. And it's all vexation, and knowing what we got coming, that gives us that hope. But the rest of these people out here, these 2/3 and these heathens, they don't have no hope. Their hope is for America to be healed, for Donald Trump to make it great again. But we know that that's not going to happen. We know that he's collapsing it. He got the big, beautiful bill, close to being passed, which is all a controlled demolition. But yet people are still trying to be in that spirit of mirth 24/7, which we know a lot of people are going to be in that spirit of mirth until they get destroyed. This is Ecclesiastes chapter 7 verse 2. It is better to go to the house of mourning than to go to the house of feasting, for that is the end of all men, and the living will lay it to his heart. So it's better to go in that house of mourning, because knowing what times we're in very deadly, evil, serious times. Yet people out here walking around like nothing's wrong, like the world's not on fire, like you don't got World War III about to start. You got the dollar's about to collapse. You got the economy's about to collapse. Everything's about to collapse. But yet people still out here in the house of feasting, eating, marrying, and drinking. Just like in the days of Noah. That's how you know we're in the last days. Because even though everything's going to shit, these people still out here moving like everything's okay, which is not. And that vexes us too, because it's like, damn, bro, this place is collapsing. You out here in a happy-go spirit, like everything's okay. But it was Yahweh Shemi Shai to put it up on their spirit to behave like that, because he wants them destroyed. He wants them to be set on their leads So when he comes down with that great wrath, that great judgment, with that righteous indignation, he's going to judge the wicked of our people, because this is all they know. This is all they think is as good as it gets. America, you work a 9 to 5, you pay your taxes, you watch the bread and circus, Popeyes and KFC, and that's as good as it gets. That's as good as it gets for Jake. He thinks that's it. He gives Jake a 1-bedroom apartment and a Hellcat, and he thinks he's in heaven. You give him a PS5, he thinks he's in heaven. And that's ultimately why they're going to be destroyed. For them, for wanting this place to continue. Verse 3, sorrow is better than laughter, and by the sadness of the countenance, the heart is made better. And we're not out here just, cracking jokes 24/7. Yeah, we may, crack a joke here and there. Ultimately, we know what condition we're in. We're in captivity, we're in slavery, and we want out. We hate this shit. We hate being subjects, being slaves under the white man, which is Esau, Edom. But we know that it's temporary, and ultimately, we're in the condition we're in because we did it to ourselves. We broke the first covenant. We didn't do what Yahweh Bashim Shai commanded us, and then that's why we have the curses put on us till this day. But they're being lifted up, and our salvation draws nigh. So our time of being under slavery, under captivity, is almost coming to an end. But yet Jake still wants to stay here. They still want to go to work, get a better job so they can get the newest Hellcat and the newest crib, newest gadgets. That's what Jake wants. They don't want the kingdom of heaven. Verse 4, the heart of the wise is in the house of mourning, but the heart of fools is in the house of mirth. And majority of Jake, these 2/3, they're foolish. They're sottish children. They don't know Yahweh Bashim Shai. They don't know what the will of the Lord is. Yahweh Bashim Shai's will is to destroy America. But yet Jake moving around here like, Yahweh Bashim Shai is not about to destroy this place, which he is, and very soon. We just got a few prophecies left. Which the mass implementation of the MOTB, the hour of temptation, that Third World War, and then the destruction of America that's going to be caused by the nuclear missiles. But yeah, Jake's still moving around here like that's not about to happen. Like, we got another 1,000 years, 2,000 years, however many years Jake thinks we got left. They're moving in that spirit like they got forever, like they got eternity. But we know that's not the case. That's why they're in that spirit of, in that house of mirth, because they think that this place is never going to end. But we're in that spirit of hastening the day because we want out of this captivity. We want to be delivered. This is Proverbs chapter 29 and verse 2. When the righteous are in authority, the people rejoice. But when the wicked bear rule, the people mourn. So right now, the wicked are in authority. The wicked elite, the Amaleks, the small hats, the Rothschilds, the Rockefellers, the self-proclaimed white people, which were given the earth by the blessing given unto by Isaac, which was only a temporary blessing, and that temporary blessing is almost done. Is coming to an end very soon. That's why he's coming down with that great wrath, because he knows that he has a short time to establish his NWO. That's why he wants everybody micro C-hip. He wants everybody surveilling. He wants to ration food, ration water, just have completely control of the whole world. But we know that he's not going to get away with it. We know that he only has a short time to try to get his NWO, and when he thinks that he has it established, that he has control of the whole world, that's when Yahweh Shai is going to throw that monkey wrench. And after this devil gets brought down, that's when the righteous are going to be in authority, where the law, statute, and commandments are going to be pushed out throughout the four corners of the earth, where Yahweh Shai, starting when Yahweh Shai and the 144,000 are going to be the government body of the world and of the universe, to completely rule the world in righteousness. And the whole world, including all these heathen nations, are going to benefit from the Israelites being in control. because right now even these heathens, they don't like the white man to be in rulership, because he does nothing but fuck shit up. That's all he's done his whole time of ruling, just going throughout the nation, stealing, robbing, raping, murdering, taking resources from people, and putting that sword on them if they refuse. Everybody's mourning right now. Nobody's actually rejoicing. Even his own people, the Edomites, the white people, they're mourning as well. Even though it's their own damn nation just putting that hell on them. This is Sirach chapter 10 and verse 1. A wise judge will instruct his people, and the government of a prudent man is well ordained. And this devil, he's not a wise judge. He does nothing but destroy, rob, murder. That's how you know he's not fit for rulership, and we need a new government, which is going to be the nation of Israel. Though the nation of Israel is the one who's going to put order back in the earth, starting with Yahushua and the rest of the 144,000. Verse 2, and the judge of the people is himself, so are his officers, and what manner of the man the ruler of the city is, such are all they that dwell therein. And majority of the people out here, especially 2/3 of our people, they're under the vibration of Esau, Edom. That spirit of I want it now, being desperate. The spirit of wanting to just delete people for no reason. You got the YNs running around. They're in that spirit of Esau, Edom. Esau's a bloody man, and everybody's under that vibration. Because he's the one ruling up on the planet Earth. That's why the whole world is mourning, not just the people, but the whole creation. From these animals, you got sea life beaching themselves. You got the oceans being polluted by Texas-sized island made out of plastic. That's how you know this damn devil is not fit to rule upon the planet Earth. Yet majority of our people want to stay here and deal with this bullshit. Verse 3, an unwise king destroyeth his people, but through the prudence of them which are in authority, the city shall be inhabited. And this devil, he's an unwise king. He's not fit to rule. All he does is destroy. He fucks shit up. He pollutes the water. He pollutes the air. He pollutes the mindset of these people. Having them think that doing wickedness is okay. You got moles walking around. You got YNs. You got women way out of order. You got these politicians, and even Jake that gets into politics and they actually get a high position up there, they're out of order as well, because they got to follow what Esau Edom tells them. And a lot of these politicians, these so-called leaders, these mayors, these governors, they lead Jake astray, especially the Democrats, leading Jake astray to trust in the system, trusting in corruption, trusting wickedness, which that's going to lead them to get destroyed. Verse 4, the power of the earth is in the hand of the Lord, and in due time he will set over it one that is profitable. And who's that nation who's going to be profitable to the planet Earth? Is going to be the nation of Israel. You got the Edomites ruling right now. They're completely unprofitable. They don't profit the earth for shit, for nothing. Because all they do is destroy, rob, pillage, murder, pollute everything around them, destroy. If Yahweh Shema Shah was to let them rule for a longer period of time than what their set bounds are, they would even destroy themselves. They would destroy the whole entire earth, even themselves. All that would be left is just AI. We know that ultimately that's not the case. That Yahweh Shema Shah is speeding up the days for the elect say. That's why all these days are going by so fast now. Ultimately for the kingdom of heaven to be ushered in, where we'll finally have rest. We'll have true rest. We'll have see what is really living, see what it's really like to breathe air, eat real food, women in order, children in order, having the heathen nations under us. That's what we're looking forward to. We're not looking forward for the vexation to continue on forever. We know that we have to endure it. because we sin against Yahweh Bashim Yahushua, but that time is almost up. The kingdom of heaven is right around the corner. But that's pretty much the point. Pray this is edifying to the elect. I want to give all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahushua, Ba'ashem Rakakodash. Double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone who are learning this truth from the well. Peace and salutations to the 144,000 and the rest of the 1/3, the large multitude.